Thank you for joining us and welcome sports fans. You are now watching the Baseball Hippie Show. Baseball Hippie Show. Baseball Hippie Show. Wow, it's the Baseball Hippie Show. Welcome all, it's just love and baseball. Just love and baseball. Just love and baseball. Baseball Hippie Show. Welcome all, it's just love and baseball. Baseball Hippie Show. Welcome all, it's just love and baseball. Baseball, just love and baseball. Just love and baseball.
Welcome everybody to the Baseball Hippie Show. I'm the Baseball Hippie. This is a show about baseball, psychedelia, the Seattle Mariners, denuclearization, you name it. To my right, I got my man, engineer extraordinaire, Brown Bear. How you doing, Brown Bear?
Doing good, man. Just about to be All-Star Week, getting excited for that, and yeah. It was all smoky here the last 2 days, and it's not smoky anymore, so that's good vibes.
Whoa.
That's where I'm
totally. Hey, right. We've talked about that on the show. Not a big fan of the smoke. Well, damn. Tobe, how are you doing, man? Co-host, social media expert.
What up, Jess? What up, Brown Bear? We're doing fantastic. It's a beautiful day in the Northwest. And we got the big old shades on because Hollywood's coming to town. You guys know about it? You guys know about it?
Yeah, we got a special show today, Thursday, July 6th.
We got the kid Bernie. We got the boy Bert. I got backwards.
Bernie and Ert.
Okay, off to a good start. There we go.
No, it's fine, man. That's a par for the baseball hippie course. Yeah, man, feels good. We got today's season 4, episode 3. It's July 6th, Thursday. Great show. It's the All-Star. We got the All-Star game next week. Symbolizes the halfway point. And yeah, man, it's been quite a season so far, and I'm glad we got the show back off of the ground. Brown Bear had a baby and turned into Papa Bear, and
yep,
our toys in his collection. So a lot has happened. Well, before we get into our shout outs, I know I kind of preemptively brought up the what ups. Usually we do how you doings to start. We did the quick, maybe redacted how are you doing, because I got to do a little bit of house cleaning. Then I got to talk about Roger Schmotis real quick, just so we can move past the subject and get on to the good part of the show, the All-Star, in Seattle this year. Okay, house cleaning, man. I did the second tweet in our Instagram, and it's the black background now, looking nice. It feels good. We're turning a new leaf. Also, I've been thinking, and Tobe, I think I'm going to take over some social media duties, and I have a plan. And my first plan, and I've always wanted to do this, is when I'm at work and I'm bored, every time I watch YouTube, I need to use the Baseball Hippie channel, and anything baseball related or psychedelia related or Seattle Mariner denuclearization related, I need to press like, sub. And so I'll start building like crazy amount of subs. Like we'll be subscribing to a lot of people, but like I'll do it the right way. And then that way we don't have to go over the message board and be all like in people's faces a little more, that's a little more subtle way of getting subs, man.
I like that.
But
well,
we're at 30.
Give me a login. I'll drop comments. I'll join in lives and stuff. Maybe that's the way to get it out too.
Okay, after the show, I'll hit you all in the Discord and we can all get on it. That's what I'm saying. Just anything baseball related, like and sub while you're watching it, unless it really sucks, I guess. I don't know. But even then, we got to get our network out and see what happens. Getting crazy, who knows? So that's the house cleaning.
That's good, that's
The
good.
second is I finished the article on Roger Smotis, and I just Smotis, however you pronounce it. We weren't around back then when he named the Mariners in 1979 and disappeared. They offered him tickets, and you know,
And a trip to Cali.
he just was never heard from again. So Cairo did a investigation a couple months ago, and they got on like Ancestry.com, and they got a hold of all these people. And I shit you not, they talked to his cousin, and she said Roger is still alive, and he lives in Pennsylvania. And then she was like, but we don't want you to contact us anymore. We're a private family, and we're still Mariners fans, but yeah, he's not interested in doing anything. The Mariners said, well, if he's ever interested, you know, come out. Yeah. You know, come to a game. We got you. You name the team, you know, at the very least. And he's not interested, so it's just suspicious, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Private family. I mean, like, I kind of get it, but it's 50 years later. What is he hiding, though? Like, why wouldn't he want to talk to people? Now, I'm starting to sound like I'm stirring up controversy and conspiracy here. But everything about Roger Smotis, from the first newspaper clipping in 1979 when he named the Mariners, 75 or whatever, man, this Roger never ends.
Schmotis sells mad weight, and he doesn't need the heat on him.
They said he was a contractor. They said he was like a car, like he was like a known contractor. Oh, man. See, I think he's CIA, and this is like something bigger is going on with the Mariners organization. There's a reason they've been this losing of a franchise. Everything is just a little too suspicious. Roger Smotis, Richie Sexson, you know what I'm saying? It's like all these connections with like things you might, you know, glaze over, but they could all be connected. Also, last night I went on a giant rabbit hole about UFOs and aliens, and like, I think there's two things going on, so maybe we could talk about that at the end of the show. But Roger, man, thanks for naming the Mariners, and we can get on with our show now. Thanks for letting me do that, guys. So
yeah, that was great. That was great. I tied no loose strings were tied on that article, and that actually opened up a lot more questions.
I was surprised by the reporting, because I mean, like, everyone has the right to just say, stop contacting me, and I get that's when the story ends. But it's just, I just want to know his side of things. I thought to know he's out there, he's probably going to watch. He probably watches all the games.
He probably watches the show.
Roger, if you're out there, you don't need to come on the show, man. We just need some answers, I guess. I don't know. Just first off, how did you think of the name? Second off, who do you work for? And that's it. That's all we have. So anyways, Baseball Hippie Show, let's get back into the mix here. Shout outs, man. Definitely shout out all the Mariners All-Stars this year. Shout out Julio. Shout out Kirby late editions. Definitely shout out Piadra. Man, feels good to be a Mariners fan with those late editions. We definitely kind of leaned into little Mariners favor for once, I gotta say. But I'm sure the powers that be, there were some heads, there was some suit action on those all-star picks. Now, Wander Franco was like the biggest snub ever, so he was a dub. But the Mariners picks, man, shout out to the powers that be on that one. I'm not a big powers that be guy here at the Baseball Hippie situation, but man,
he pressed the button. He said F the fan votes, F all the votes, get the boys in. He said, I'm not buying any more.
He probably,
tickets.
I'm sure Manfred and Dipoto in the city of Seattle have played nice. So you know what happens there. They get a little on the back end, and George Kirby becomes a first-time All-Star. But also, these guys earned it. I thought if J-Rod didn't have the last couple weeks, then I'm sorry, the music's a little loud in my ear. I think that's why I'm talking. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm just talking loud. My bad. But I thought Julio had a good couple weeks, and I think Kirby is deserving in a fringe all-star way. I think he is an all-star in my opinion, but the K to walk ratio is big in today's game. What do you guys think about those two picks? I mean, am I making up that they're leaning towards Seattle favor as they should probably because they're hometown guys?
I think that Kirby definitely earned it. And I'd have to look closer at a list of like other American League pitchers to come up with a reason why maybe he didn't. But from what I can see and from what I've seen, he's played well enough to earn a spot. Julio, I agree with you. I think he's made a good case for himself over the last couple weeks, over the last month, you could say. But I don't know. Someone hitting 250 should be starting, or I don't know if he's not gonna be starting, but should be playing in the All-Star game. But I love Julio. He's got an All-Star personality, and I'm honestly kind of surprised that they didn't just go with him for the Mariners like initial guy named. I guess you can't pass up Castillo because he's had a good year, but yeah, that's how I feel. But I'm happy for them all. Yeah, for sure. Definitely happiest for Kirby.
Yeah, me too, man. So shout out the Mariners All-Stars, and obviously shout out to the All-Star game being in town next week. Me and Tobe live in Seattle, and we'll be hitting all the festivities. The straight All-Star program showed up today. Freaking centerfolds, man. Oh. So I'll be looking through that. I'll be trying to get SIGs. I'm going to turn into a freaking signature head this week. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not getting sentimental with it. I don't care if I get a Julio. I'm just selling anything I get and see if I can make some money back on these All-Star tickets, which let me tell you, they came game day prices. Let's just say that, man. They came with quite a Seattle soda tax on those damn ticks, my geez. But it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so shout out the Mariners, and I think Seattle's done it pretty good so far. I'm pretty excited. Like, I know it sounds corny, but like they're hyping everything in my email a bunch, you know, and like they got DJs at Westlake Park. Supposedly the red carpet event is at Pike Place. Me and Tobe are going to the convention center to see the like baseball or like the Lumen Field Convention Center. They got an indoor and outdoor there. They're doing Mariner legend talks and signatures, and then, you know, probably some bullpen. Tobe, we should bring our gloves, man. Now that I think about it, and a ball and just play some catch, if nothing else, man.
Yeah, we should probably bring our gloves. You might catch us, you know, we might be off a shroom or two looking for Zach Campbell, blood on our hands if we catch that man out in open air.
Who's Zach Campbell?
Oh, man.
Wait, who?
You know this guy, dude. He's the guy who catches all the home run balls.
Oh, man, you are up on these guys.
He notoriously has pushed kids out of the way, caught got balls. He got like, I mean, I think he has the Guinness Book of World Records for catching the most home run balls because he crunches data and knows where to buy tickets.
I'm down a deeper dive this guy, but wait. You told me about it once. You showed me. You showed me. Tobe, we're not getting into street justice off mushrooms at the Mariners All-Star Convention, okay? Man?
I'm just saying.
We're going to see celebs. I'm with you. I bet you we'll see Chris Rose and that kid and probably the freaking dance kid, the girl who ate the freaking cotton candy kid, maybe the broccoli dude who shows up on the freaking screen sometimes.
Hopefully Rally
Marlon
Kid. That would be a
Rally Kid.
Get Rally Kid out there in the mix.
Maybe Roger Samotis will be there. Doubt that though. Doubt that. Yeah, dude, I went to the game on Friday too, and I got this all-star hat with all the patches. I'm gonna load it up with buttons, man. I'm just gonna nerd out this weekend, baseball style. So thanks for joining, Tobe. We're gonna have a good time, and catch us at the home run derby. And straight up, definitely bringing my glove to that one, and I will be pushing. It will probably be more full contact at that event, I would imagine. We will have to walk the concourse. What the home run derby is really going to be like that. I don't have any idea. I've never been to a home run derby. I've never been to a derby. Now that I think, I've been to a roller skate derby twice.
Okay. A little different vibes, but okay.
Yeah, we're bringing gloves to that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I know I'm talking about resale value here, but could you resell a home run derby ball? Can we get a price on what a last year home run derby ball runs on eBay today?
Probably depends on like the number and the round and stuff like that.
Yeah, not just like number 10, first round.
Well, I think too, you go early, bro. Yeah. Everyone's taking BP. There's a lot of BP taking all day because these guys aren't just trying to go cold up and hit 50. So it's like, I think they open the gates early that day, and you can just, I mean, there'll be balls getting shanked all over the field. So we have a good chance, man, if we watch a little right away.
I gotta work that day, bro. Shit, I should take a half day.
I know. I actually have to work that day too.
We're not getting there early. All right, we can talk about that later.
Hell no.
Anyways, shout out Seattle, man. It's a special thing. And then the last shout out this week is last show. At the end of the show, we're doing the tarot cards. And Brown Bear just pulls a straight grippy, $200, $300 Griff McGriff, and the next day my girlfriend pulls a straight Julio from the MLB The Show 2023, which isn't as cool or pricey, but man, we're just getting lucky out here. Shout out Brownbear, dude. We're getting lucky in the card realm.
Wait, what that mean? She pulled a live series one?
Yeah, she pulled. I bought some 2023 cards with this hat, and
okay.
I gave her one of the packs, and she pulled the Julio card that's in.
Yeah.
It's like really got a picture of him
24.
He's like holding on to his helmet.
And his helmet's falling on. Yeah, it's just like the exact same. It was rad, man. Super cool. Yep. So, those are the shout outs. Let's get into the weekly roundup here, man. What's been going on in the world of baseball and psychedelia this week, fellas? Does anyone want to throw anything out that showed up this week? And then we'll dive Mariners, and then maybe close it with some alien talk. Sounds like a good show to me.
Shohei dominant. I don't know if we wanted to go not Mariners base, but Shohei.
Yeah, weekly roundup definitely. Man, this is the third weekly roundup where we've talked about Ohtani. He is so
Meme.
talk about aliens, man. Yeah.
And then, I mean, just to throw in there, too, to just get a little side-by-side, a dude who was Shohei Ohtani, in a planet where Shohei Ohtani wouldn't exist, this dude would be the number one most talked about dude. Is Ronald Acuna Jr. is also having an historic year right now. So,
yeah.
I don't know if we want to talk about those two guys at all.
Yeah, there's a lot of good bats. I mean,
25,
Eli,
40 stolen bases.
yeah. Yeah, 40 stolen bases?
Yeah, I think first ever do it before the All-Star break or something like that.
Yo, wow. Wow.
It's nasty.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Man, I think as bad as hitting has become league wide, it's always really surprising how many dudes are mashing, you know, like, or the people who are mashing are not really falling off that bad, you know, like the league gets top heavy. And I feel like this is one of those, you know, definitely seasons, at least might be byproduct of watching the Mariners the first half, but I don't know, man. It's like averages have definitely gone down, but then you get guys like Judge and Ohtani and Acuna and Arias, you know, it's just like gamers. So it's interesting how the game, you know, is doing that, but also it's Ella De La Cruz, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been weekly, man. He's got to make it into the weekly roundup with the bat controversy.
Plastic knob.
Yeah, is there a John Boy on that? Yeah, what is that? First off, he got caught. They're
trying to say the knob on his bat was illegal. I don't really understand.
It was a tracker. It was they had like a tracker in to check his swing path or something like that to help him.
Nice.
On it or something.
Nice, but like no one wears those game day.
I personally think other people wear them. He was just the first person they checked it on. It definitely looked. I don't know.
And then he turned around after he hit a home run and just like rubbed it in their face.
Well, they think it was though, like a weight, like a counterweight or something like that. Like,
yeah, I think they thought it was something of foul play, counterweight, maybe. I don't know.
Piece of cork hanging out the bat.
Some new technology where it moves your bat for you and tracks the pitch or something. I don't know. Yeah. I
love that Dave Martinez, the Nats manager, just got all like old school butthurt after the game. Like, oh man, he's only been in the league 2 weeks. He's gonna be a good player, but he needs to knock that off. One of my favorite things about baseball is like old school dusty ass dudes getting all bent out of shape about young kids having fun.
Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%. The generational divide in baseball is palpable. I don't know, man. There's just something off with baseball that I actually enjoy, and that is definitely one of my Brown Bear. I agree with that.
Yeah, that one I just read as like Dave Martinez is like, yeah, great, good player, fun to watch, but he really didn't enjoy his post home run antics, and it's like, so your side of the scenario is he just strikes out instead of hitting a bomb off of you. He would have liked it better. Like, sit down, bro. Like, come on now.
I mean, I hate to do him like this too, because he is a World Series manager, but it's just like, yeah, man. And also your team sucks. Like, not even just like your top 5 worst team in the league. So like new kids tearing it up, that doesn't also help. Like if you guys are perennial division leaders and then you're trying to lay down the law, I kind of understand you a little better. But it's like, yeah, man, I don't know. Maybe you should just take the L and just go to the next city. Just kidding. That's so disrespectful.
It was shades
but it's
of,
like, I think,
what did the Mets do last season with the stuff on the dude's neck or something? And then he like it just totally like backfired. And then the dude was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna not say anything. It's my boys or something." And it's like, yeah, I don't know,
that was in the
bro.
playoffs. San Diego,
Yeah.
Musgrove got checked in like that was. See again, that is like an oddity of baseball, but you just as a fan, I just eat it up, man, because it was like pretty critical playoff game, and everyone's just like, "What's the shiny stuff? What's the shiny stuff?" And with all the sticky controversy, it was just like peak drama. But at this, it's like kind of like maybe could be construed as kind of trashy. But baseball has been very trashy throughout the decades, and you know what I'm saying. It's just kind of like a mirror of life. But that one was like, talk about like the antics. Brownbear, do you have any opinion on Musgrove last year? Because I feel like this Dave Martinez, it's in a different lane, but it's also like building on this like managers saying like, just doing what, like, kind of like getting in their head, but also just like saying, like, I can't not do it, you know, like, someone's got to bring integrity to the game, you know.
You're talking about the postseason where they thought he had shit on his ears.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the ears, and he's like, no, I just have big sweaty ears, man.
He got all hyped. The pitcher got what's his name got all hyped after that shit too, kind of like how De La Cruz did.
Yeah, no, I think that in particular is, you make a good point of like the coach is like, I gotta do it, or the manager's like, I gotta do it. You can't, you know, when someone brings it to my attention, I can't just ignore it because like, what if?
Yeah.
But then I think you also said like just playing mind games, just trying to get in his head. Like that is a huge aspect of it. Anything you can do. Like I think a smart manager knows that tool's in his arsenal.
Yeah, but they
to
both
disrupt his rhythm.
Didn't work.
To do it, you know, and it didn't work. It didn't work at all. But at that point in the series and at that point in the game, it was Buck.
His ears were shiny too.
His ears were shiny, but he
it
had
was
big ass ears, and it was
too.
cold as shit in the fucking Queens, New York, and he's like all sweat. Like I don't know, it wasn't crazy to me that a dude with ears like that in a cold weather, like sweating and hot, like they'd be either red because he's hot or red because it's cold. It's October in New York, like, you know. Not shocking to me. But I will say at that point in the series, at that point in the game, Buck didn't have any option. His team wasn't putting it together. You know, in particular with the Mets at home, I feel like I'm going to feel bad if it wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was in New York that it happened. But they were they had something to prove. I feel like he was feeling the pressure, and that was what was in his arsenal at the time, was whether or not there was anything on his ears at all. He had to do something to interrupt the rhythm, to get into his head, to try and change it up because his players weren't doing it. So,
yeah, that's a good point.
And he's that kind of. I think he's, you know, he's one of the more respected.
When Josh Jacobs, General Heinrich, he is. I give Buck. I would love to have Buck as our manager. He's actually one of my favorite managers. But
I just feel like he's thinking like that. Like he's
Josh
thinking,
Jacobs,
like, what can I do to fuck this game up? Because no one else is doing it right now. Like, but
get in that dude's head a little bit. Last tool in the arsenal.
It backfired though, because I think he like did well, and then he like turned around at the opposing dugout, was like, oh, or something.
Yeah, I think he's stuck out the side.
See that? Yeah. Was last year the sticky season, or was it the year before that? Like what? Because I kind of want to end the weekly roundup on. I feel like if it was last season, there was like palpable topic of the season, which was sticky. I think it was 2 years ago though. What if I could say what
first year they started doing the hand check, but 2 seasons ago was when it was prevalent, when they started talking about spin rotation.
Because I gotta say,
or 2 seasons ago is when they asked.
We don't have to go
Garrett Cole about it, and then it opened the
All right, so if we say that last year was about the impending rule changes and the sticky. what at this point in the season is this season about to you guys? And I'll think of my answer. If anybody has one, jump on. But we're getting towards what would be called the unofficial halfway point of the season here at the All-Star break. What's the identity of the 2023 season? We're past the COVID season, which was season 2 for Baseball Hippie. Past the sticky kind of, I guess, like getting checked is just part of the game now, weirdly. I don't know when, like, is that forever gonna be like 100 years from now they're gonna like check your hands still? I don't know. You know, you just never know. But or even 10 years from now. What's this season about? Because I do have to say my first inkling, and it might be like recency bias, is like, again, De La Cruz, this kid just comes on the scene. And I think Brownbear, the first day he came up, you were like, man, this is why I hate that, like, Rule 6 or whatever. Like, he would be an all-star probably. We'll see.
You can't tell me this dude wasn't ready. You can't tell me this dude who's crushing it right now, ever since he's been up, wasn't ready to go in April. Like, you cannot convince me that homie shouldn't have been on the Reds starting lineup at the beginning of the season. Like, no, I don't know. I guess to really honestly say that, I would need to look at his like spring training numbers, what he did in spring training. Maybe he just had a god awful spring training and they couldn't find a way to get him on the squad. On a team like the Reds, who are actively rebuild, I mean, now they're competing, but like, I think at the beginning of the year we all would have said they're in a rebuilding process, and like they had just offloaded pretty much everybody except Votto and like I think Tucker Barnhart, their catcher, is like the only like if he's still their
and
catcher.
they rock with that one that guy with long hair, the shortstop, Jesse.
Jonathan.
They have
India.
another. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, India. They've been rocking with him too.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah,
they could have offloaded him, but did not.
They could have, but he's kind of like the guy you want to build around. He won the Rookie of the Year, I think, the year before Julio, I want to say.
Yeah.
Barnhart's not even on there. They got rid of him too. So anyway,
sorry
my point
to
is,
sidetrack you.
No. I was trying to validate what I was saying, but it looked like they were rebuilding, basically, is my point. And so unless they tried to find a spot for De La Cruz and he just totally had a bad spring, I just don't see how there's any way. It seems like clear contract manipulation to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name? What's
the
that
thing is,
old
why
Mariners dude? We would know a lot about that.
They're kind of idiots too, because they incentivize doing that. Like, we're gonna get an extra draft pick this year because we started the year with Julio last year and he won Rookie of the Year. We get an extra draft pick in the draft this year because of that. So if they would have, I mean, you know, it's a gamble because you can't guarantee your dude. I think that's like the top 3 or top 5 Rookie of the Year finishers of people who start from the beginning of the season. Like, dude, he may still have a chance. Again, I'm not totally up to date on all the rookies in the National League, but like, if he keeps playing this way for the rest of the season, he's still gonna have a chance at Rookie of the Year, even though he missed the first 2 months of the year. But if he would have played it would have been in their favor to play him from the beginning of the year. And at the time, I mean, I'm sure they can come up with some bullshit about how they were competing and trying to put the best squad out there, but like, I'm sorry, the Reds weren't in a position to be playing that way in late March, early April. Like,
well, okay, I've got to bring up
Kevin Mathers would have a.
I got to bring up, man. We got to run that clip someday of Joey Votto saying, "I'm just a hip dude who wears his hat backwards. I'm going home for a fresca to stay up till 7 in the morning and playing video games with the young crowd." Votto is a pretty funny guy, I learned post-interview. I'll send it on the chat. But, man, is that it? Because, okay, I got to say one thing about De La Cruz is I hate to do him like this because he seems legit. He feels legit. And the eye test is definitely there with how big of a, like, he's a monster-looking dude. the Reds had a dude a couple years ago who got brought up and hit like 14 home runs in a month or something. I forgot his name because he kind of went into oblivion. So like, I hate to do De La Cruz like that. He will come back to some earth, but man, if he becomes the best player, top 5 player in the MLB, much like the meteoric rise of one Fernando Tatis Jr., would any of you be surprised at this moment?
No, I would say that. You take it, Joe. You take it.
No, you go. Because I actually had another point to the original question. Yeah.
Okay. I would just say the dude you brought up the other from a few years ago, I don't think he was as highly ranked. Like De La Cruz was a top ranked prospect, so I think he's got the pedigree to like maintain what he's doing. And that's really all I had to say about it. I'm trying to find the name of the other dude, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
Me too. Yeah. Tobe, what were you going to say to the original, which is what is this season about?
Original question. Yeah, I'd say, throwing it out there, I'd say, just rule changes. Once again, I'd say it's a pitch clock season. And I think, we're talking about new infield rules. No, God damn, it's been so long, I forget the name of it, the switch or whatever it's called. But infielders,
the straight, shift.
Yeah, no shift, and then the new schedule change.
Defensive shifts.
Think these are 3 things that first couple weeks with the pitch clock you could tell, but I think all those things we're not going to notice until maybe the playoffs start or the season ends when all that data comes back. But I do think the pitch clock in the playoffs is going to be interesting. And I just say it's a pitch clock season. I'd say for the other one with the new schedule,
they might turn it off in the playoffs.
Yeah, maybe that'd be interesting. That'd be really interesting. But I'd say with the new schedule change, it might be interesting looking back, seeing how that affects things. But
could take a couple years on that as well. But exactly. Good points, Joe. We've talked about all 3 of those topics, but all 3 of those big. I mean, last week we went real deep into the season. Yeah, the different schedule. You don't face as many divisional people, but
I do think the shift thing, I know in the regular season the data proves that the shift is a huge thing, but I do think the shift, from my experience watching, is so huge in the playoffs, and you're playing a team for, it can go a 7-game series, and how dudes hit against certain pitchers, especially against relievers.
I've seen some hits on the Mariners this year that were caught in the shift, so I agree with that. And I've been seeing a little bit more oppo ground balls because people are trying to play the fake shift, or like they're trying to do the close to a shift kind of thing going, but not.
Yeah, I still really wonder how much of an effect that. Like, I don't think offense. You guys aren't wrong. I've noticed the same thing, but in general, I don't think offense is changed that much in terms of statistically.
And what's so interesting? Sorry to cut you off. I think your point is actually so right to the fact that none of us even thought of. You know what I'm saying? It proves that it hasn't changed that much if that wasn't even the first thing that we were thinking of when the question got asked. And we're halfway through the season, we're like, what's different about this season? So it's I think Brownbear's hella right, where it's I think day by day, maybe besides the first week we don't really notice, but maybe after the year, the data. But I do think in the playoffs, pitch clock, if it's there, and the shift will be interesting. Sorry to cut you off, Jess.
Not at all. I agree. I mean, I'm glad you brought those up because that is this year in baseball. Because I'm trying to kind of give a half year roundup, I guess, if you could. And I think also drama is kind of low at an all-time low here. Not an all-time low, excuse me. It's just lower than the Bauer years or whatever. That being said, Manoah gets called up. He gets taken. We thought he was from the depths. That was just last week we were talking about Manoah. So shout out to him. And Logan Gilbert goes complete game last week. You don't see a lot of those anymore. And we were talking about that last week. But yeah, I think in terms of the season thus far, yep, all that, the shift. Now have the bases being bigger made stolen bases going up. That's another one. All these things we'll just have to keep an eye on. A half a season of data is hard to say, but with that one, the answer is yes, it sounds like.
Yeah, it is, yes.
Because people are trying, at least the attempts seem to be higher in my just naked eye version of the Mariners.
Stolen bases are at the highest per game rate since 1992.
Okay.
That's good for the game.
At this rate, if it continues, we'll see over 1,000 more stolen bases this year than last year, which would be a 44% increase.
Damn.
That's hard numbers. You cannot argue statistic. When the statistical analysis spits that out, it's very hard to argue against that set.
That's good though. It's good for the game. Let's go for the game.
Yeah. Well, the rule changes have been in effect. We talked a ton about them last year, and we're still here. So that's that's all you can just that's love right there, man. That's love. So that's the weekly roundup this year. Thanks, guys. All right, man.
Real quick.
Yeah.
The guy we were talking about from the Reds was Aristides Aquino. I don't know. I'm probably butchering that name.
Aquino.
He played
monster phenom. Yeah.
Yeah, he hit 250 something that year, 259 that year that he came up. He actually played a game the year before that, but the year that he ended up hitting 19 homers, but he came up and he was just blistering home runs. He hit 259 that year, and then he played another 3 seasons through last year with Cincinnati, and he never hit again over 200, and now he's playing in Japan.
Damn. Damn.
Wow.
All right. Here's baseball for you. That's tough.
Shout out Japan. Shout out MPL. Man, before I go on this earth, I need to go to a Nippon game, dude. Our deep dive last offseason on the international game was so inspiring. I just want to bring that up, guys. That and the minor league deep dives have it comes up in my life every once in a while. I'm like, oh, I know this because we went deep on Korean leagues, Japanese, Mexican. So shout out all the international leagues as we round up. Great World Baseball Classic. That was the beginning of the season defining. That Ohtani trout moment still just wow. Goosies.
Yeah, that was cool.
Mariners though, man.
Summer Koshin game before it all ends, man.
Dude, we got to go to a straight
high school
Colorado vibes game, man. Before they're gone. Before they turn off the vibes. But hey, man, thanks for looking up Aquino. He was phenom. Obviously hope De La Cruz doesn't go down that road, but man, being a young hitter in the league, the pressure, man, the pressure. Anyways, Mariners, gotta say a few things. Let some steam off on the chat line last night. And Brownbear's like, man, you should say some of this on the show, Jazz. But man, Brownbear called me a manic M's fan, which I give him full credit. I was high I was like the highest dude on the chat. I was like, Ty France blew up a dude on the base path, which we'll get into in a second, and then we started winning, and I was big on it, but for some reason we can't catch a 5-game winning streak. Aaron Goldschmidt Aaron Goldschmidt on the broadcast said the defining stat of the season, the Mariners haven't had over a 4-game losing streak and haven't had over a 4-game winning streak. And I'm like, that is the stat right there. So I had to blow some steam last night, which is, Tobe mentioned a good point. It's hard to sweep on the road. We just beat Tampa Bay series. We just beat the Giants series. And then when going into the show, we've won the first game in the Houston series. So aggregate, big on the Mariners. Lots of things to be happy about, straight up and down, including the All-Star. That Tuesday win was dope. But man, I am bummed because of that stat, man. It's like there's something with these motherfucking guys. Like, I want someone intense, man. I want the intensity. I want the baseball hippie vibe to maybe go down, and this like kind of the roid head to go up is where I'm at. Like, because it's like, and I know I don't bash Wong a lot because I bashed him at the beginning of the season. He hasn't, obviously, but I blew up on him last night because he's just such a fucking waste of an at bat. I swear to God, I'm sorry, Wong. I'm sorry, dude. You just like every time he's at a plate with runners on, I'm just like one more out. And there are guys like that, man.
Hippy podcast, we preach about pro ABs is what we call them, maybe pro abs for short. And the dude doesn't put in many pro ABs, which is tough to see. Yeah, but Jess, keep going, boy. You were hot.
I'm mad at that. I'm also just mad at the lack of, not winning 5, man. I'm not even like, I want streaks, man. We won 14 in a row last year. That we're gonna have to do something like that this year. And if my recollection is, the streak went through the All-Star break. We had won like 6, and then we came back and won like another 7. Am I wrong about that? Either way,
I think we won.
After winning today,
I'd have to look.
I cooled off. I'll be honest. Beating Houston's big, but I could have seen us just shit in the bed on that. But just no runs is not acceptable anymore, in my opinion. And the injuries on the starting pitching side are starting to irk me a little bit. I know that you don't really have control over that, but it just bothers me, man. It's just like I feel like we're wasting a talented team, and we're far underperforming. Because when I play well, that's what it makes me feel like. I'm like, this team is a playoff team, is how I feel. When they play well, they have a knack of putting together, which is just a playoff team.
Oh, he's chunking. He's chunking. Oh, you're back.
What do you guys think? Is anybody as hot as me? Can someone have some fire on the team? Am I the only one who has fire? I care because I got invested. They played 2 of the best games of the season back to back. The 3rd game of the Rays series was the best rubber match I've seen them play all year. And that 2nd Giants game where they came back by 5 was just something I have not seen in this team. 4 maybe? 2 to they were down. And I'm just like, when I see them play like that, I'm like, yeah, this is that playoff team. This is that team that beat the Blue Jays. And I have to say it this year, the expectations have gone up tenfold. I consider us a playoff team, and I'm the one person who's just like, no. If we don't make the playoffs this year, it's a total underachieving, and I think the coach should get fired. Or anybody who's in position, I'm just a hater like that, but let's go. Who's got a hot take after that? I know I'm always after Service's job. It's the first thing I go to. It's like Wong and Service are just on the chopping block at any moment. Unfortunately, we got rid of Flexen, so DT has nothing to bitch about in the chat. Brownbear, last year you sat on this podcast when we were down by 7, and you said, I can't stand. Okay, here's what's going on. Brownbear had a baby, and he's off the Mariners Reddit, so he's just like,
dude, I had to get off that shit. It's toxic, dude. It's toxic. I can't do that anymore. It's
toxic.
It was fun, man. You
zenned out on this podcast. Yeah. Sorry.
No, dude. I don't. You're right. I'm off the Reddit, and a couple seasons ago, it used to be fun, and like, yeah, people would be negative when they weren't good, but like, going to what you said about expectations are tenfold. People like really, we made the playoffs and played a handful of playoff games, and people really now expect that like we are a perennial playoff team, which Yeah, obviously we all want that.
Yeah,
But there has to be some to be some reality to the expectations. Like
yeah, we're young.
We're young. We're not the type of team, like, whether or not you think it's the right decision, whether or not you think it's the team's being managed correctly, we are not the team. We've never been the team to go dump a bunch of money in free agency. We've done it on very few occasions. So to expect, and again, I will give it to people who are upset about that. The general manager,
I'm not upset about that.
Ownership they've said during this rebuild, when the time is right, we will go all in. When the time is right, we will invest in the right players. They didn't do that this offseason. People who heard that assumed that meant once we make it to the postseason and we demonstrate that we can do that, we will go all in. And I understand where people are coming from with that. But to completely turn your back on the team the way people have done after what has been largely a disappointing season comparatively to last year, I think is the wackest shit to me personally. Because what kind of fan are you? Like, yeah, I get it, it's been hard. Like, I've been a fan my whole life. We've not been a successful franchise, but to turn your back on them to at the point where there's an article last week in the Seattle Times about, like, why is this the most hateable Mariners team in the last 20 years or some shit like that? They
literally got rid of Haniger, and that's the only person I can think of that's not on the team from last year.
I know, and so
that's
I forget it's not Ryan Divish, but the other dude. He's like I think he's been writing for a while longer, or he used to write for the Mariners. Then he went to California and he came back. He's writing again for them, but he's just like, it's a combination of all sorts of, like, expectations, people access to the team through social media and all that stuff. But there's just like an insane amount, and this is going back to like where this started, which is like the Reddit threads and things like that, the Reddit board. People just have access to spray their fucking negativity around about the team. And the reason I got out of that shit and I still like browse it every once in a while, but I don't really get involved with anybody there because it is just so negative, and people have really unrealistic expectations. To me, a misunderstanding of the game of baseball and just how fucking hard this game is, how fucking hard it is to even when you have a team full of really talented dudes, to get everyone to click at the right time and to play the game the way that's going to let you win as many games as possible. And it's so easy to get sucked into these losing streaks where you just like can't get out of this hole and everyone sucks at the same time.
No, but that's the defining thing this year so far. Is it hasn't. If it was just one big old 10-game losing streak, that would just put on the Sim City bad city, city in the dumps music and let it ride. But they just teeter the 500 mark, and it's like, I think I agree with you 100%. Tobe, I know you want to get in on this because I know you have something to say about toxicity in sports. You already talked about that on the pod, but I just want to mention this, which is I will try to keep it less negative on the chat just for you saying that. B, proud of you for getting off that shit, man. And C, I think this rubs off on the team. I don't know. I don't imagine a lot of the team, maybe the bullpenners, go on the Reddit. I don't think they give a fuck about that, but I do think somehow they know that this formula between expectations in the fan base and their approach this first half of the season, and they kind of feel like they're disappointing people, which doesn't help. It kind of compounds. But
yeah, well, they don't even have to go on Reddit.
The DT. Yeah.
They don't have to go on. They booed us. The fans booed the team at home. That's some Yankee fan ass shit that is uncalled for. In my opinion, that's not.
I'm not on the DT side of things that Dipoto should have done more. I'm on the Kansas City Royal train where it's like, we've got our core. It is just now the cards are on the table. We're playing tap your mana. If this is Magic. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you're drawing at this time. So I'm saying I am like a father who is disappointed because they know that their son can achieve more.
Well, let me hit you guys with this, man, because these are great points. This is good. This is good talk. First off, this is probably the hottest. It's probably the most negative I've seen Jeff ever talk about baseball in the years I've known him, which is good.
On the chat or here?
Yeah. In the chat. Even when the Mariners were probably one of the worst teams in baseball, but I will say this, man. Coming back into baseball and taking this beautiful ride with you guys, and I appreciate you guys for really taking me under your guys' wing, learning about the ins and outs. I gotta say, man, the one thing I've learned is it's a slow burn, baby. This is a slow burn of a game, and to even have glimpses like you've had in the past weeks, or maybe even glimpses in the playoffs like we had last year. People go their whole lives without even a glimpse of seeing their babies in any type of spotlight. And what I will say to add to that, and not to just be a half glass full type of dude, but I really do think the most important thing that's happened this year is Jerry DiPoto saying that not even a prime Babe Ruth could help this team right now, because one, it just means
comes down to the players.
Delusional GM. No, that's the biggest thing. We don't have a delusional ownership group. We don't have a delusional GM. They're not like, this is where we need to be, guys. Just keep patting yourselves on the back. It's just like,
I agree with that.
We get it. We have a good core, but we
and it comes down to a bunch of 25-year-olds. So it's like, of course they're going to be streaky, because even Kirby has gotten blown up this year and still made the All-Star team. But that's just a testament to how nasty he actually is, because he's raw. He's not like a 126 ERA Maddox prime. He's not even in his prime.
Right. But you know what I mean? Where it's like, at least you have dudes in the right hands and being like, this is a good core, but at least we're not like the dudes up top are like, and that's what it is, bro. It's like, like we got to the playoffs and it's over. Like, good job, guys. We got our money. It's like, you got dudes who are like, we got a good core. We got dudes like Cal Raleigh who are angry at where we're at right now. And it's a good sign, I think, as a fan to be like, I think the players have the right attitude and the team's in good hands of being like, this has been a disappointing year, but we all want better, instead of being like, dude, we're like a 500 team. It's pretty cool. Like, this is where we need to be. So I think, and I know that's like, oh, man, it's kind of like a wishy-washy thing to look at it. But I do think it's like, I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of teams that, I don't know. Like, I feel like, you know, this is – in past years, you would have had GMs who would have been like, yeah, this is cool. We got our star, and this is it. I don't know. But it's a slow burn. And
I agree.
But the glimpses are there. The glimpses are still there.
I'll rephrase it. I feel like I'm speaking, somewhat of me is speaking for the negative Redditor out there. That's a fucked up word. But, hey, man, I'll say it like this. I'm on the side of glass half full. I need Brown Bear to say that we're going to steady the shit, because last year, the same time, the hate was even higher. The expectations were obviously much lower, but the hate was higher, I feel like. And Brown Bear just sat here. I think it's because you had more exposure to the Reddit boards. You were just like, look, people are freaking out, man. Like, what do they expect? Is they literally the message you gave on this, and then they went on to make it a magical run. I think they can make a magical run this year. I want to make the playoffs. I don't need them to make the playoffs. My life will be fine if they don't. But I care about the guys, and like, when they win, the shit means a lot to me for some reason, man. I really... most hateable team, could not disagree more. It's like, I like the growing pains. I watch baseball, man. The minor league, the line between the minors and majors has always intrigued me, because like we got Ayla De La Cruz, could be a top ball player for years to come, just off the cuff. And then you've got, you know, people who spend their whole lives in the minors and then come up and tear it up, like Ford's doing, you know. So it's just like the difference between a AAA guy and the majors isn't a lot, but the difference is bold. And the same, I think, can be said about a division winner and the Mariners at this point. So it's like I really don't think it's going to take much, but it's not going to be the fans and it's not going to be Dipoto. Maybe he does have a big trade deadline signing, but man, Trout just injured his hand. Texas is cooling off. If we can, I'm not even going to say it out loud, but if we could, what we could do before the All-Star break, man, I want to see us win again, because last season was fun, man. Brownbear, what you got for that, man?
No, I'm with you, man. It's
Last season was fun.
There's got to be that element of positivity, and as I feel like, as much as I think it was 2 weeks ago when we were getting into it, I probably sounded pretty down on the team. I'm not down on the team. I guess you can't deny, like when we were talking about streaks, if it was like 1 10-game losing streak and they were back into it, it's fine. Something about the fact that they can't seem to get and stay over 500 is to me
hurtful.
That is to me the difference of like what, like, I know we were under 500 for a long time last year, like way farther under 500, but the hill wasn't as steep this year to get out. We've been, I think, as far as 3 or 4 games above 500 this year, and we just can't seem to get back to that point. And long season ahead, not all is lost. The last couple weeks have been very promising. So yeah, I'm with you. I want to see them keep going. I want to see them make a run, and I don't think it's out of the question that they'll do that. I think they just got to keep. I hope that they've figured it out. I hope that they've put it together. And there was just something about the team last year where I could see
they put it together. I 100% agree.
I could see the way they were doing things was gonna
put it together. They never looked back. Yeah. There was never a Mariner moment. It was like they became a winning team, and then they like had the streak or whatever, and then it wasn't like, oh, there goes the old Mariners propping up. It was like rare, but it was like, no. They were just solid, and if they lost a game, they did it in a solid way. It was just like, yeah, they lost, take the L. But yeah. I don't see how that could change. Like we literally have the same players plus Teo, who's now tearing it up, in my opinion. So I'm like, I don't even really understand.
There's a lot to be positive about, for sure. I think even the fact that we have had
Gino hitting 2 home runs today was big.
He did. That's great. I think the issue you brought up, that we've had a lot of starting pitching injury, is actually an upside, considering how we've been able to piece it together. And the starting pitching has largely not been our problem. Bullpen has not been as strong as it was last year, I would say. That's part of the issue.
But not been the full problem either.
Not the full problem either, but there has been those games where we end up giving up like 14 fucking runs or some shit, and you just can't dig out of that hole when you don't have the type of offense that puts that up. We have the type of offense. Our team is built in the way that we're going to score 3 to 4 runs, and our pitching is not going to give up 3 to 4 runs, and that is how this team is built. And when we can't consistently perform that way, that's the issue. And there's been many games where we haven't been able to put up those 3 or 4 runs, and if we did, we would have won those games. So I think that is kind of my takeaway from what the issue has been, is that we're not living up to the way that the team seems to be built. Their strengths are really strong pitching and just consistent enough offense. Ideally, they're not performing that way, or they weren't as of a couple weeks ago.
And a lot of homers. Yeah,
and I feel like the homers have been down. So look, man. Anyway, my point is the fact we have a lot of young, great starting pitching and people who can fill in. Even dudes like Tommy Malone, who he's come up I think 2 times this year, but he goes deep into games. I think his first, not yet. Yesterday he only pitched like 4 innings, but the game before, I want to say he went pretty deep into that, and he's got like a 2 ERA. Yeah, and I know he's only pitched 2 games, but the fact that we just have some random dude who can call up like that to fill in when we got dudes with blisters on their fingers, or we got Marco with some nerve issue in his elbow, like that's a huge thing. So there's a lot
and
of
the
positives.
2 guys we called up are good. You're right. Bryce Miller and Wu have both had shaky starts, one against the Yankees, one against Texas, good teams or whatever. But overall, they're pretty good. I'm right there with you, man. I'm not going down the Reddit road. B, I'm not going down the DT road who thinks Service is out to fuck us somehow. Or Depoto, whatever, same thing. I'm on the road of Growing Pains. What's that show? Family, not Family Matters, but man, this is what growing up feels like. You know what I'm saying? This is what growing up feels like. And so
I'm with
this
you.
is kind of like, this is like you're out of the teenage years. You know, you got to go figure yourself out, guys. Got to go figure yourself
pay
out.
your bills. My bills
Yeah,
are
Tobe,
paid.
this is all of them just figuring themselves out, man. So I'm coming on this podcast. I aired it out in the chat. It felt lethargic. I'm glad you commented on that, because you kind of put it in perspective. But I'm extra positive on the Mariners, and the 2 All-Star picks took me into an euphoria. I had brain chemistry on that. That shit. I really want to go to the game and see my fucking boys,
Dopamine.
dude. I got dopamine. I got a Rodriguez jersey. I'm all in, dude. I bought the hat. You know, like, I'm all fucking in. And if they don't make the playoffs, I'm not like, I hate you, Dad. I don't care about that. Like, I just want to see accountability and just the next steps to the organic process of going out there and winning a championship. That's what baseball's about.
Yeah, dude, you get it. You get it. I feel like the issue with the negative
Organic.
fans that we're
It's
talking
all
about
organic.
is, the issue with the negative
They
fans
want
that
it.
we're talking about is
Yeah.
I've seen people say, like,
Synthetic.
at this point, we need to be sellers at the deadline. First of all,
Ugh.
we don't have any fucking people to sell. We haven't been performing that
Who we
well.
sell?
And what do you,
Yeah,
like, the fact,
Teo.
it's just like, it's so, like, what do you get? Like, you think that we've had one bad half season. Let's call it one bad season. Let's assume the worst here. Let's say we've had one bad season after making it to the playoffs. It sucks. It's awful. But your solution to that is tear the fucking team down that we just spent years putting together. Like, that's some immature baby vibes. Like, I don't fuck with that. So
100%.
as much as I
100%.
haven't been as high on the team, like, I've never been into that level of hate for the team. And it's just, to me, it's a lot of, like, it's awesome that we got a lot of people loving on the Mariners. There's people that in my life who I've never once seen wear a fucking Mariners hat, let alone go to a game, who I've seen on social media. They're at 5 to 10 games a year, starting the middle of the year last year through this year. And it's fucking awesome. And I love that shit. But those are the same people who are going to turn around and be like, oh, well, you know, I was sold a fucking lie that the Mariners were good now, so I'm going to stop going to games again.
And I will tap into this because I live in Seattle, and Tobe knows this too. The Sounders and Seahawk fan bleed, which we have talked on the pod, is like real. And like, again, the synthetic shit is like, you can't just buy like a winner. Like, I guess the turnaround time isn't the same. And for a true Mariners fan who's been watching them lose for 20 years, that's not the formula. It just is not in our DNA to do that. What's the only way out of this hole is, I think, good development and good drafting.
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way because what do you want? Like, you think you're fucked up now. Put yourself in the shoes of a San Diego or a New York Mets fan, where you put it all on the table. You dump the pockets out on the table.
You put that in perspective. So I agree.
Everything's relative.
I agree, man. And you know what he said? Fuck that writer. Yeah.
How about that?
I'll just say real quick. Fuck that writer. Fuck that writer says most hated team. More like they're just hard to love at this time, man. They're just tough to love.
To be straight about that real quick, he wasn't saying that they were that way. He was saying that fans seem to be treating them as like that they hate them.
But we know it's a little ridiculous. I'll say they're not that five. Yeah. Okay.
So the writer himself wasn't saying that, but yeah, Tobe, get it.
Yeah, can we segue just on this is a beautiful conversation we're getting it on. This will be I just gotta say, this is gonna be a great looking back. It's a perfect midway through the season pod right here. This is exactly, as a viewer, this is exactly what you want right here, and this is exactly gonna be a great point to look back on. But I think it's a great segue. Let's talk about spark plugs. I think we got a picture maybe on the deck in the Discord and the Dcord that we talk about. Or maybe not, but yeah, there we go, dude. We're talking about spark plugs. Let's talk about us being 13 under last year in a Jesse Winker fight. We're talking about
could this be the moment
that players could tap into, bro?
I know I let off steam on the chat, but I thought about it this morning. If they would have won that game, we would have had a 6-game winning streak at this point as we talk. Would I be even down at all? Would I even be questioning them at all? I'd be all on them.
Okay. Positive notes. This is Tampa Bay win a series against. This is the Giants, and we're now up a game on the Astros. These are 3 big dogs you're facing right now. Now, obviously, it's not going to cure all, but looking at the small things, man, this is a great direction. This is gritty ball we were playing in the wins that we won.
Who pitched today?
And that motherfucker got trucked, Kirby, and he proved he's an all-star, dude, against the Astros.
Man. 1 run.
Runner.
Look, if we would have won that game that I blew up on the chat about and became a little Reddit fan, I became a little embodiment of Reddit.
It was a bad for a game.
Because I just wanted to see that 5-game win streak. We would have a 6-game win streak. This podcast would be about how good the Mariners are about to be in the second half because we literally won a week worth of games. But they lost 1 game, and now I'm being even wishy-washy, man. I told you I'm all in, and I like the key to loving is that you're all in, and that if you don't make the playoffs, I'm not neglecting my guys. They're always being my guys.
Yes, what's happening right now is this is a Dr. Phil psychological breakdown. What you're on is called an emotional roller coaster, my boy. It's what happens when you go up and you go down and then you go back
exactly.
Up. The downs hurt a lot more if you never went back up, okay?
But we're going back up, and
we're going to bring you back up a nice all-star.
This all-star break's going to be great for everybody, but I'm telling you right now.
Oh, look at that, dude. That is such a good – that's a piece of art right there, dude.
I believe in the Mariners. I believe this could be the turning point. We talked about it pre-show, and we won't get into it too much, but anybody who saw this play, if I was a Rays fan, I'd be a little – I get the rules, but I'd be a little irked by this.
Looks like he has him in a chokehold.
I know, he does. Yeah, it does look like a fight.
It does.
I'm surprised glasses didn't pop.
Man, in real time, they had the real time with the audio, and it was like, there's a little.
Football.
He just straight sprinted into him. That being said, man, I think we're gonna close out the show here. Honestly, it's weird because the pod used to be a reflection of how I felt about the team, but now I come to the pod to get my recharge on about one of our subject matters, which we changed the bio this year. We're a Seattle Mariners podcast, baseball psychedelia, denuclearization, peace and love. But man, I'm just feeling positive, man. I just really think that the more Reddit haters we amount, the better off. The more boos, whatever they want to throw at us. Throw us 10 Macklemore songs, a country road. I don't care. You can't stop greatness, Tobe, when it's organic. To Larry June. Good job, Larry. You can't stop the organic, man. You can't stop the organic. That's what I'm saying right now.
That's beautiful. Do we have any early runner hippie candidates halfway through the season?
Oh, yeah, dude. Corbin Carroll, Lakeside graduate with the hair. Definitely. Bo Bichette has always been on. Hair is a big thing for the baseball hippie.
Yeah.
Hair is big.
Hair is pretty cool when you take off the helmet and it's just.
I got to say, that reliever. That reliever for the Giants is up for the Granky who throws the guy who throws side sidearm is just such an oddity.
Oh,
His sidearm is like
He has
Tyler Rogers, I think.
Yeah, that dude has
right.
it.
His slot, his arm slot is unreal, man.
That shit is crazy.
He like throws the C-check, but like the
I feel like
underhand
that shit,
C-check.
like it looks like it'd be so bad for your arm, but I'm pretty sure it's better for your arm to throw it that way when you're throwing that hard.
Weird.
Maybe not quite like he did, but like the sidearm slot, I think is like it's better than the. Anyway, I read that one time and it was kind of crazy to me because it doesn't look natural.
Yeah, it looks.
Well, we'll probably
It
take
also
it.
looks, it looks fluid at the same time, but it also just looks so crazy.
You guys got any? You guys got any front runners?
Yeah, who's the dude? Man, this is gonna be bad because I can't find the name, but they said there was a dude who threw an official knuckleball this year.
Ooh, we gotta pull him up.
Whoever that is,
Damn, I'm gonna try to pull him up.
Shout out.
shout out. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna sign off here, and we'll probably be taking next week off because it's also my mom's birthday that week. But
Oh, well, here, let me.
going to All-Star
quick
break.
ad. Let's do a Luisa Rise.
Oh yeah, got to go to that
82,
segment.
82 gold.
82.
On
Sits-
the down.
sits-
Going down to 81.
Sit steady. Going into the All-Star break at 82.
Great.
Take it over and under next week. We'll also probably do little halfway predictions since we didn't start off the year. Maybe we do a couple, like Tobe said, redacted. Man, let's go play some show, boys. But man, like I'm saying, the difference this year is the podcast. I leave the podcast feeling better about the Mariners than when I came in because of you guys. So I love you for that, man. And honestly, I fucking love baseball and I love the Mariners, man. I really do. I love JP. Love Gino, man. I love the boys, dude. I love the guys. I don't know what to say about that. But hey, man, let it grow. Feed it water, give it sun, let it grow. That's the organic way, man. And if you're not about that, man, go to the internet board. They got plenty of noise for you. Got plenty of noise.
Can't say it better than that.
Beautiful.
Tell me, man. Hey, I appreciate you, brother, putting this together. Tobes, always, man. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks on the show, and we'll be back to some winning baseball. And if we're not gonna give up. We're not gonna give up. We're not gonna just say sell the squad. We're not just gonna say throw the baby with the bathwater. We're chill, man. We're like Brownbear. We're this is fatherhood, bro. This is what I imagine fatherhood is like, Brownbear. We're in it for the long run.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying? We're in it for the long run. You're doing diapers today, but one day you could. You know what I'm saying?
Off Molly right now.
yeah, dude, who put the Molly in his drink, man?
Woo! So we gotta do that. Hey, we gotta pull up to the All-Star game like home run derby on some biz, man. That might be the drug we should go.
Okay.
Toad with the stunner shades. I'll come up with the crazy hair, man. And we'll just straight catch. We'll just be like on. Yeah, we got to take some type of drug that helps us catch
Like
home
Draymond,
runs.
I'm a rocker in a rapper's body, baby.
I'm a rocker in a rapper's body. R.I.P. Mac Dre, man. Love you guys. Shout out Mariners. Organics, that's the way to go. Stay organic, everybody. Baseball Hippy.